All right, Donnie Vie back in the house. So this is fun for me, not only because I'm a huge Enuff Z'Nuff fan. I don't know if you can tell from the video and that I'm wearing the shirt. Enuff Z'Nuff. And also a huge Donnie Vie fan. But also Donnie Vie was one of the first guests that I ever interviewed for my podcast. If you go back and listen, he's number 5, my 5th episode. Pretty crazy. I was really nervous, very scared to interview a rock star. And then he came back on the show for episode number 43. So both those episodes, we covered a lot of his history and background and how he came to, join Enuff Z'Nuff, and all that good stuff is in those 2 old episodes. So if you want to learn some more history about Donnie Vie, check those episodes out on YouTube or audio. And today is going to be the first time that he does actual video with me. So that's a lot of fun. And he's here to promote his new Flashdrive music and video box set thing. And it's really cool how instead of just having like a plain old box set, it's actually a laminate, and then it's got the flash drive in it. It's got tons of hours of music and videos and all sorts of cool stuff. And also, it is a laminate that you can use to go backstage. It's a lifetime pass is what I understand. So that's kind of a good deal. I think it's $115 or something like that. It sounds like a really good deal. So just the lifetime backstage pass sounds like a bargain to me. He's also got a new song out called Party Time that I've been hearing about for years. And so I'm glad that song is finally out in the video. And so he's here to talk about that and also talk about the Howard Stern collaboration that he had. That's pretty exciting. And we talk about his anxiety and some of the emotions that he's been going through and how he deals with that. We talk about his favorite TV shows and much, much more. So enjoy this episode. Before we get to the episode, though, if you could do me a quick favor and just hit subscribe on that YouTube channel. If you're listening on YouTube, hit subscribe button, hit the like button. That will help me out. If you're listening on Spotify or whatever, I think you can also subscribe or follow or something like that. So if you do those things, I'd appreciate it. And Donnie V's coming right up. Welcome to the show, Donnie Vie. 3rd time. I don't know if you remember the first 2 times. You do so many interviews, you probably mix them up sometimes, right?
Oh, I remember that one so clearly and vividly.
Really?
Yeah. If you believe me, I believe me.
Okay, sure. Let's take that. We'll go with that. Well, it's fun for me anyways, especially early on in my podcasting career. I think you were like one of the first 5 or 10 episodes I did. So I was definitely nervous, and now I'm a little more comfortable because I've talked to you twice before. So yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to come back to me.
Yeah. So let's bring everyone up to speed. We've already gone over your whole history in the first 2 episodes. So what's going on right now is the Party Time. And I was so excited. I've been waiting for the song for like 2 years because you've been talking about it for a while.
Right.
And I guess I didn't realize it's actually a song that you've had for 20 years that's been lying around. You just didn't know what the lyrics were.
Well, I only had like the chorus. I had the chorus melody of it for 20 years. But I didn't know what it would be called. I didn't have any of the verses. I didn't have the riff. I didn't have any of that shit. And it's just, there's a lot of songs that little bits are here and there, and I'll dig them back out sometimes if all of a sudden I hear something that can go to that song. You know what I mean? Because if I'm struggling with it, I have plenty more. So there's no reason to sit there and struggle with it. And I put it back in the pile, and then later on something, when it's supposed to come, it comes, you know what I mean? And so it did. And here it is finally. And then a couple of years to release it. And it's because all this crazy madness going on around here. And I apologize. I'm sweating a little bit. We had a big storm last night, and the other side of my room and studio is a lake.
Oh shit. That's not good.
I'm trying to vacuum that shit up with the carpet shampooer, but
okay. So yeah, so Party Time. So you, at one point you're going to call it exercise. Like you had all these different ideas. How would the exercise, how would that have even gone?
I would have, I was thinking of calling that for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, Donnie Vie, exercise. What am I, fucking retarded? Then I had exercise because it was like ecstasy or the drug ecstasy, or, you know what I mean? But so I knew that after those 2 were definitely no good. So I put it back in the pile, and all of a sudden Party Time came out. I'm like, that's it. Party Time. And then the whole rest of it just wrote itself.
So explain that though, because obviously you don't do drugs anymore. So is it like partying, a different kind of party, like more like kids party, or could be any kind of party, I guess, right?
Well, you can party any way you party. You know what I mean? Some people party with chicks. Some people party with drugs. Some people party with alcohol. Some people party with weed. People party with it all. I used to party with all of the above, you know what I mean? But a party's a party, and it's starting to loosen up a little bit. And if everybody can just get it together and get on the same page. We can get this thing in the rearview mirror somewhat, you know what I mean? And so it's time to lighten up a little bit and let's have a party. The holidays are coming, and and the video is really entertaining, and it's fun, it's funny, and I hope everybody likes it. And so far, it's doing so well.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great song. Love the video. And you're thinking about trying to license this song for like a commercial or something like that. I like your idea of making it potty time for like a kid's like diapers or something. That's smart.
So you're not only an interviewer, you watch these things too.
Oh yeah. I need to learn. I don't want to repeat everything, but I thought those things were really interesting.
I think potty time's genius. Little cartoon toilet. It's potty time. Dun, dun, dun. I think little kids would remember that. And what's more important than learning how to use the potty?
Right. So how does that work? Do you have somebody like a manager or somebody that's like trying to get it licensed and pitching it for these commercials, or how does that work?
I have a promotional guy right now who's his name Michael Brandvold, and he's bringing in a lot of ideas and stuff, and he's got some other ideas. But the first step is to get it out and start getting a little reaction, a little bit of buzz from it and stuff, and then we can go to some agencies and stuff. And I might have to hire a different guy that does that. You know what I mean? But
okay,
the flash drive is it's helping support the funding of things like that. You know what I mean? Because I've poured a lot of money into what I do throughout the years, you know what I mean? Haven't made a whole lot out of it. And, but I have all my own stuff. I bought all my records back and everything. And so I can, release on a nice little package now that I put out. And
yeah, that's super cool. But going back to the party time video, where you talk about costs, I mean, that thing must have cost a lot. Like, did that guy how did you pay for that? Cause it's very high quality production.
I paid him in compliments. Now he's an old friend, or very close friend, and he just came back into my life not long ago, and and he just he used to own a limousine company. Now he's been making movies and commercials and stuff like that. So he's got all the professional stuff, and he also does promotional manager for a private auto collection, auto museum, and that's where the sound stage was. We used the sound stage there, and that's where the Batmobile and everything was at. And so we just one thing started and led to another. And before you know it, I'm some disheveled Batman, and I got a whole cast of characters.
Was that a dream because I was a huge of that old Batman series as a kid? I watched that. Were you a big fan of that when you were a kid?
There was only a few shows to watch when we were kids. We only had a few channels. And I mean, when I was a kid, you were drink at your father's bar. I mean, you were drinking the bar. And so back then we had like the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family, Batman, shit like this, Speed Racer and shit like that. And there wasn't a hell of a lot of a selection, but everybody's dream is to one day play a superhero or be a superhero. And, I spent my life at night, putting on the cape and fighting crime, but now I get to do it in a video.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I love the song and then you said you had the guy from Jellyfish. He plays on it. Which guy from Jellyfish?
Yeah, Roger Manning Jr.
Oh, okay, Roger. Okay,
Joseph Manning Jr. Yeah, he was. I've always loved Jellyfish. I always thought they were.
Yeah, me too.
But it was a whole different style than Enuff Z'Nuff. But we were sort of. Well, you would hear our name and their name in the same breath often. You know what I mean? It's because of the melodies and stuff like that. And fortunately, on the Beautiful Things record, I had someone, the drummer that played on most of the record, was currently working with him in Beck or Morrissey or something live band. And he hooked me up with him. And so, Roger played on the Beautiful Things record.
He froze.
Stuff and I Can Save the World. Now he's, I recut this song after I made the videos. I didn't think that the song held up anymore to the video. So I recut it, and I got Chip Z'Nuff playing bass on it. I got Roger playing all the horns and orchestration. I recut all my parts, and Mike Philbin, of course, to mix it. And it came out really, really well. Yeah,
I love it. And then the other thing that's happened since we last talked was Howard Stern has mentioned you several times. And then you guys have this collaboration of sorts where you like redid his song Bang O'Clock. Tell people about that. That's really funny.
Yeah, they sent that to me and asked if I would like to do a rendition of it. You know, it was a pretty simple, basic, inappropriate, kind of, you know, I mean, little ditty that, like, I have a whole bunch of those on a record called Guilt and Shame.
Right.
So I'm no stranger to that kind of stuff. And I could see the humor and everything in it already. But when I went to go sing it, another part kept coming to me, like a chorus. It didn't have a chorus, and this chorus just kept coming to my mind. And I figured, fuck it, you know, I'm just going to throw the chorus in there, because they told me no pressure or anything like that. And so when I did it, it kind of turned into a really cool pop song, you know?
Yeah, no, it's catchy. I like it. So, and he liked it too. Obviously he talked about it. Now, when he mentions your name on air, do you notice like a bump in listens or followers or anything like that?
You don't see, like in the old days when Enuff Z'Nuff first came out and he started helping, having us on and breaking us, we could see a spike in, like, every time we were on, like a spike in 20,000 sales. You know what I mean? Just from being on his show, we could see that. Nowadays, it's not like that anymore. You don't have record sales and you don't have shit like that. You know what I mean? But it is exposure and word of mouth. And if he says it enough, you know what I mean? People get curious. And if there's something for them to hear, or something for them to watch, and direct it over to my website, they'll see what's going on over here. And if you like one thing I did, you're going to love all the things I did.
Yeah. So then let's go back to that. You had the laminate. So this is a thing where it's all your solo records on a flash drive that's within the laminate. That's so cool.
Top part.
Yeah.
This flash drive also, the extra incentive for getting this is this is going to be VIP and meet and greet and all that stuff for upcoming shows.
Yeah.
And you can't download this for free.
So it's all the music. It's a flash drive. It's a laminate that's a meet and greet. And then also, isn't there a 15-minute Zoom call included as well?
That was on the pre-sales.
Oh,
if you got in on the pre-sales, which the actual sales started, I think Friday or Saturday. And the pre-sales got that, because you needed to pull in some funding at first to pay for all the making these. And I'm doing it all myself and my little team. We're doing this ourselves, you know, paying for promotion and everything. And we took care of that and take care of paying the promotional guy. And, you know, I got a lot more pre-sales than I thought I was going to do. So I'm going to be Zoom calling for the next 3-4 years.
Seriously? Can you say how many Zoom calls you're signed up for?
No, I'm not saying, but
it's a lot.
It's 15 minutes a piece. It's quite a while.
That's going to add up, huh?
About 2 or 3 weeks if I nonstop did Zoom calls.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been told not to disclose a few things, information, you know, but
no, sure.
I was very surprised, but I'm also very glad that this thing is just on regular sale now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So Beautiful Things. You said this was the first time you felt really like unhandcuffed, like you were able to make a record the way that you wanted to. So why isn't Beautiful Things on Spotify though? Because I feel like that's how you kind of have to grow the bands now, with getting on those Spotify playlists.
Well, like I said, you know, we did that licensing deal for all the Enuff Z'Nuff catalog, and with Cleopatra Records, and there was a little chunk of money. So I took my money and I went around and bought my records back from these shitty labels that are out of print. And people are selling my shit on eBay for a couple $100 and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. But that included Beautiful Things, because I had to hold up the video for Party Time again. And my contract was up after Beautiful Things, but I did a separate deal with Party Time, but I didn't have a contract for it. And so when I pulled that, and I pulled that from them and everything, they pulled everything down from Spotify and everything like that. So it's all going back up now.
Oh, it is going to go back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was up, and then they pulled it.
The record will be sale too. The record will be, they pulled it all down. They're the ones that put it up.
Okay.
Excuse me. And, you know, different things too, iTunes, all this stuff. They're the ones that put those up. And so they pulled them all down, you know, they'll show me. And so, like I said, bit by bit, we're getting it all back up there. And like the records out of print and stuff, they'll all be individually for sale as well through the time to come. But I just figure, you know, get this. This is the thing to get. It's got everything on it, and all these videos. There's like 50 videos on it. There's a whole brand new record worth of material that I did here in my home studio with a couple of my favorite songs that I've done, new songs that I've done on here. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really cool, man. And plus you get that, and you get the VIP thing, the pass and everything. And
yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. So some of the music, like somebody else had it or something. Like I heard you talking about this guy. He had like demos that you had done when you were like 16. Like how did he have it, but you didn't have it, or did you have it too?
I hold no sentimental value to most things, you know, the gold records, the all
Mm-hmm.
that art memorabilia, everything like that from through the years. Like Chip has all of that shit, you know, and he kind of also was holding on to the shit for me as well because
Hmm.
I never had like some permanent home, you know what I mean? I've moved around a lot, and
Hmm.
so I figured everything was safe there. Well, you know, you learn, you live and you learn, but I don't have any of my records. You know, I mean, once I'm done with the record, it's the last thing I want to hear anymore. And, you know, I hit send and it's out there and it's yours. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm on to the next thing. And so, what was I answering?
You don't. I was just trying to figure out how you didn't have all this music, but
Oh,
somebody else did.
yeah.
It's not. So it wasn't because somebody else had this stuff like demos since you were 16. It wasn't you or Chip. It was someone just a
No, it was,
fan or.
well, he doesn't have all that stuff. Yeah. It was a big fan that did, he's been a bootlegger since
Oh,
we come out and he bootlegs different things
okay.
and he's and a huge fan too. And he's just acquired. And when you're a bootlegger, you go and trade and find and this and that from other people and that, you know, they're, and he gave me I ended up getting a 500 gig hard drive, was with just about everything. And there's all kinds of stuff that I'd forgotten about or I never would
Wow.
have thought about again. And so there's a lot more stuff on there to have to see how this goes you know, release some more things. And of course, I didn't put the Enuff Z'Nuff songs on there because I run into some trouble with that label that Enuff Z'Nuff's currently with, and so I didn't want any problems with that. But you know, I wrote all those songs and I wrote all these songs, so you can get that stuff. This is a whole different thing now. This is just my solo thing,
Solo.
and if you like the Enuff Z'Nuff, and if you like my voice and you like my songs, I've maintained that level of quality throughout the years, and right up until this day, I believe that I'm still learning and I'm still evolving and I'm still getting better.
Oh yeah, I love Beautiful Things. That's one of my favorite record. I think
Thank
that
you.
year that it came out, I think that was the best record of the year. So what are the plans for the future? There's got to be is there going to be a new album or are you just going to do singles like Party Time?
Um, well, that's so far as the plan is singles because you when you put something out and you release it and you do the setup and all the press for it and everything, you're basically getting all of the same amount of that on a single as you do for a whole record. A lot of songs go under the radar because they're on a record, you know, and some people only hear the single and they cost a lot of money to make, you know, because if you're going to do it right, you know, you either do it right, which is going to cost a minimum of, you know, 15, 20 grand. And like the last Beautiful Things, we went Pledge Music with that. Pledge
Mm-hmm.
Music, of course, fucked everybody and took all the money and all the pledges that I'd raised. And I'd raised, you know, twice as much as I needed. And so we were okay. We're going to pay off the expenses and everything. And then towards the end of it, it was just gone and the money was gone. And so my sister and myself and some other people went, you know, took a couple of loans and 401ks and shit like that and paid the expenses on that. And plus we also, I took that deal with the last label so that I could get all of the merch, all of the product that the pledgers had paid for and pledged, so that they didn't just get fucked too. Like most of the artists, they couldn't do anything. You know, I was able to buy all of the product from that label for really cheap. So I was able to, you know, for cost. So I was able to get them all out. My sister and I and everybody, we packaged them up ourselves, got a hold of the list, packaged them up, sent them all out. And it was a lot of them, man, you know, and, but nowadays, you know, it costs a lot of money to do it right. Now, after
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful Things, that's a hell of a thing to follow up, you know, and so it's going to be a minimum of that amount of money you know, recreate or to capture that. Because the songs is no problem. I've got the material, you know, and so
Yeah.
right now I'm thinking for now that I'm getting better at my home studio stuff. You know, I'm getting better at it. And as long as I take my time, because usually if I'm making a demo, I'm not really taking my time. I just want to get the ideas down and get a gist of how it goes and all the parts linking together, make sure all the parts are right. Because if all the parts are right, it fits together like magic, you know, no matter who's mixing it or whatever, you know, but I'm just getting better at that. And that's more practical. So if I can get that together, or people are satisfied with what I can do here, then I can make another record. I could do whatever, but I'm just going to do what makes sense. And I'm going to follow the path like I do. I'm a follower.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love the new music. So I look forward to new stuff. Now, live shows. Tell me, you have you put a band together now. Tell me about the band that you have right now when you do a few live shows.
Well, I had Jesus fucking phone. I had put a band together for one show. I was looking to put a band together for my band.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things went wrong. I got sick. The guys were the wrong guys. And so it came up time for the show, and I found myself, just in a predicament where the show wasn't sounding really well or anything. And fortunately, it was packed. And fortunately, all the fans came out, and they were just happy to see me alive on stage. And so it went over really well. It's people that broadcast it from their phones and shit like that, which is sons of fucking bitches. They got to do that shit, and then so other people are able to watch it like that and pick it apart and stuff. And of course, I mean, it's a live show. You need to be there for the vibe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very, very shortly will be putting a band together and looking for guys and getting it right. Cause the band's got to be great. It's got to be as good as of these records. Cause even Enuff Z'Nuff, we never recreated the record on stage. And I want to do that from now on because I deserve it. I've worked hard enough. I've paid my dues. I've sound blasted out, sounding like shit, lost my hearing, lost everything. And I wanted to sound like the fucking record. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I will be putting a band together. I'm already talking to a booking agent. Matter of fact, right after this interview, glad I thought of that. I can't forget to call him again. But that's the plan. And possibly the other plan I have is for putting like an little all-star band together and going out and overseas in Europe and stuff like that, and doing a quick run of my own Enuff Z'Nuff, with some happening cats. And
because you own the name for Europe, so you can tour Europe as Enuff Z'Nuff.
And Japan.
Oh, and Japan. And you're popular in Japan, right?
Yeah, he forgot about that.
But would you bring Chip? Because I mean, he's a great bass player.
He's the greatest bass player. I proposed to him, went to dinner to tell him about that. I had gotten, that he had stolen that one from me. But I went to dinner to tell him I've got the rest of it, and proposed that if we did this right, I would be willing to sing for the band again and do big shows and do some good shows that mattered. But he didn't want anything to do with it. And he's just like, no, I want nothing to do with that. And so, I mean, that's, I would have preferred it to have been that way, but, and he's talking about his guys, his band and stuff. They would never go for it. I'm like, gives a fuck those guys think, you know what I mean? None of those guys are on one fucking record, at least the Enuff Z'Nuff records that the real Enuff Z'Nuff, you know what I mean? Which is, cause that right now is not Enuff Z'Nuff. I don't, there's Enuff Z'Nuff songs, but that is not Enuff Z'Nuff. The new records are not Enuff Z'Nuff. That's speaking from my personal opinion as a fan, because I'm a big fan of the band as well. You know what I mean? And
of course, yeah.
I would have preferred it to be that way, but business is business. You know what I mean? If that's the attitude, and if that's what he thinks the fans want to see and hear, then I mean, God bless him. He's out. He's also doing things like riding around in a van with 3-4 bands in a bus and shit, and opening for, old cock rock bands of the 80s and stuff, opening for them. And, every night of the week for, shit money. And I'm not into doing that. Absolutely not,
So what would you want to do? Would you rather do like maybe those one-off, like those big festivals, or like the Monsters of Rock cruise, or those kinds of things? Cause those are pretty well paying gigs.
Yeah. Things like that. Things like well-promoted big shows, like you could do one in Chicago, you could do one on the East Coast, the West Coast, you do a couple in the middle. So you're like a hub of a wheel, and you get all these coming in from here, well-promoted and plenty of time, so the people know that you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll be packed, what I mean? And you could get good money for these shows, and you don't have to do all that other work, that shitty work and devaluing the band and the name. You know what I mean? And I wanted to bring the integrity back to the band and the name, and less shitty shows and just all good shows that make a difference. Because Enuff Z'Nuff, Jesus, it was a great band. It just, besides all of the fucked up baggage that went along with it, you had integrity. And even some of the biggest artists that I've known and have influenced me and stuff through the years, really love Enuff Z'Nuff too. You know what I mean? And but when he went and he took it, it's like he took all the contacts and networking and everything with him, because I didn't foresee the day where I wouldn't be with him anymore. And and I was focusing on the art, the songwriting and production, stuff like that. And he was out playing the game, and he's really good at that. He's I've learned to miss that once I didn't have him to doing those things. I see all the other things he did for the band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I've never been responsible or ever had a kind of business mind enough to do those things. You know what I mean? I probably never will. So it's just, I'm needing help. I'm going to have to, get people. I'll get a manager once it makes sense to have a manager, because we're able to cut it right now. And we'll see what happens. And, but I got my head screwed on straight now. And so I can do whatever I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
Now.
So you would maybe do some one-off shows, maybe a weekend, like a casino show or something, as Donnie Vie in the United States.
Well, I'm looking at doing, that's corporate gigs. I would do those as Enuff Z'Nuff.
Okay.
My own shows, if I happen to be a casino or something, if they'll pay enough money and enough fans will be there.
Because casinos pay well, I thought, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a certain thing they're looking for. They're looking to put bodies in there. You know what I mean? And, but they're also not looking to promote the hell out of anything. So it's kind of a built-in thing. And then there's private shows, by privately funded shows, parties and stuff like that. And as Enuff Z'Nuff, I can do those. You know what I mean? It's not conflicting with what the fuck he's out there doing, and of course across the seas. But that's not where my focus is. It's not on Enuff Z'Nuff anymore. That was the first part of my life, and I've kind of I outgrew that, and I started outgrowing that very early in the band. And as I did, we started outgrowing each other.
Right.
And it just got to the point of where there was so many downfalls, and we weren't able to survive it.
Yeah. But so you would, because another idea would be like maybe doing some sort of like a residency or something. Because I know you don't really want to do the big tour and get in the van or whatever. But what you're in Chicago? Could you do like a weekly residency? Is that an idea?
I can go out and play the shows and come home.
Yeah.
Play other shows and come home. If there's a few strung together, I'll do that and come home. And I don't want to be out there if it doesn't make any sense, and if there's no reason. Not going to be in Council Bluffs, Iowa for 50 people for fucking $500. That's not happening anymore.
Right.
It's just detrimental to
I don't blame you.
My morale and
yeah. So how is that with your anxiety and stuff? Because I know you've suffered with anxiety. Does it give you anxiety to do the live shows?
It gives me anxiety to leave my studio, my room here. I medicated all this throughout the years with Enuff Z'Nuff. I was heavily medicated because I went from this kind of life, upbringing that was not pretty. You know what I mean? It was very lonely and isolated. So I went from that to the lead singer of a national act. And that was really my first real band was Enuff Z'Nuff. And so all of a sudden I'm in the center stage, and surrounded by, thousands of people, and sometimes at a time, and yeah, it's, I really didn't understand my emotional and mental conditions earlier. And, I hadn't been diagnosed and medicated for any of that stuff. So I kind of was white knuckling it throughout all the years. And, and then the alcohol and the drugs and everything took on a life of their own. Yeah. Before you know it, I'm known as the biggest piece of shit in the music business. And that wasn't.
Well, I think there's definitely bigger
and the rumors and stuff of what happened to the band.
Oh, you're breaking up.
You're freezing up here.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. You're back.
You're freezing up here.
Oh, I'm freezing up. No, you were freezing up too. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. But so how do you deal with that stuff now though? Because the anxiety doesn't go away, but you're not doing the drugs, which is awesome. So how did you meditate? Do you just write music? Is that or all of the above?
I can't meditate because my mind, the way it works and all the stuff going on it, I'll never be able to slow the monkey down. I've worked on some things, but they're not very effective. And I don't know exactly yet how I'm going to completely deal with this. I'm working at a little bit at a time and a little bit at a time. And I've gone and done some things. I was around a lot of people, and it was, it was a struggle, but I made it through those things. And you don't want to telegraph that to the people that when you're meeting them and you're signing things and taking pictures and stuff, but hands are shaking like this and my eyes are twitching and stuff, so I wear the sunglasses so you can't see that, and mouth freezing up and can't speak. So I'm chain smoking cigarettes, and none of that is very good, so, I'm just working and trying to get professional help for it and trying to get treated. And I've been treated for a lot of other things. So, we can work on this and coping skills. And it's been like so long since I've done it that, it's going to be hard at first. And, but, whatever it takes, I'll have to do it. Cause that's what it's all about. Is I want to see my fans. I want to see all my friends again. I want to sing my songs for them. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, is them, is you guys, you know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you say
connect,
absolutely. Music that gives your life a purpose. So, I mean, doing the shows has got to be a piece of that.
It's a big piece of it. I mean, a big piece that I haven't done in a long time. And it's also, it became one of the only ways that artists can make money anymore off of their work. But now with the COVID and everything, that's been affected, and I'm curious to see what the next coping skill for us musicians and artists will be to get through this and be able to survive. And I sure wish I was smart enough to pioneer the next thing, but who knows? I'm busy dealing with anxiety and growing plants and recording new stuff and dealing with all kinds of other shit.
Right. Well, no, I think like we talked about earlier with the party time, if you can get that licensed for a commercial or TV show or something, I mean, that's a good thing too.
That's the ticket. Then I can retire.
Yeah. Well, what other goals you have for the future? Like, I know you're such a big Beatles fan. Have you ever tried to get a collaboration with one of the two living Beatles, with either Ringo or Paul? I mean, I know Paul would be obviously a lot harder probably, but I mean, is there any sort, I mean, Howard Stern's friends with Paul McCartney and he's a fan of you. Like, is there any sort of, have you tried to put that together?
No, and with the second record, Strength, the president of our label had reached out to Paul there was a song called Time to Let You Go. And I could foresee, it was like a type Beatle song, I mean, it was simple and everything. I mean, it kind of reached out, and he just couldn't do it, unfortunately, at that time. And after, years later, Robin Zander was like pissed at me because I didn't ask him, and it didn't even think about it. I mean, I wasn't, we became good friends. And so I never thought about that, but, I would be happy to collaborate with other artists if they have something that they can offer, something that they could, contribute, that I wouldn't be able to do that on my own, and there hasn't been many that I've ever worked with, and there definitely hasn't been any that really were able to contribute something, like your Page and Plant, your Lennon McCartney, or Keith and Mick and stuff like that. I just never had that other component. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people will assume certain things, you know what I mean? But I've never had that. I would love to have explored or still to explore and see the challenge of somebody that's definitely a great artist, so that I can do my thing to that. Cause I have to wait for these songs to come to me in the air, write them and record them and everything. And, it's, I have to do it all myself. And you get to a point where it becomes a little bit mundane, and I start to feel like, all right, what haven't I done yet? It's like you sit down to do it, and that exuberance and euphoric feelings of creating, it's still there, but it's there's a lot of it has gotten old, and a lot of it has gotten beaten, battered, like I have, and also my business skills. It's just, how do I find them? Who would they be? How do I find them? How do I get a hold of them? Would they be interested in this and that? So we'll see,
Yeah. It sounds like you need this manager. You need a manager to take care of all that business side of it. That's not your forte. You're more into the creating, and you're really good at that.
Absolutely not my forte, but that's what I am. I'm all about the creative. I didn't aspire to be a rich and famous rock star. I did want to be a rock artist. Money, of course, was part of the dream, but it wasn't my aspirations. Mine was to be an artist that could to create something that would have effect on other people, like that stuff had on me. And and the fans, and they let me tell me all the time that it has. And I'm really blessed with the fan base that I have, and they never fail to reach out and let me know when I'm down or I'm feeling this and that, to let me know it very, very much affected them, and they're still with me. And
Yeah, no, it's all great stuff. So besides music, how do you spend your time? You still doing a lot of the binge watching TV shows and stuff?
Yep. You got a couple that are my go-to, my comfort food only shows.
Okay.
South Park, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I love those.
I'm watching a thing called Deuce now, and there's a couple other ones. And but like South Park and Curb, I can watch them all. I know I can recite them all, the lines and stuff, but it's still, I can put that on and decompress from the day and still enjoy it. And I'm scared of the dark and silence. I have a fear of that. So I need something going on while I'm sleeping stuff, because it puts me back in a comfortable place, like I would be when I'd be with my grandparents or something. There'd be that sound and noise going on, a little bit of light, and I was able to sleep comfortably. And I'm just not able to do that in a pitch black and the dead silence. It's too hard for me. And I wake up, I have nightmares and stuff, and I wake up and sometimes I don't know where I'm at, things like that, but I deserve it, because look what I've did to myself for all those years.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope that you can find peace. I think you deserve peace. I think that I disagree that you deserve that. I don't think anybody deserves that. I think you deserve peace.
Piece of something, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
Awesome.
I'll settle for a record with a piece on it.
No, I'm excited for new music. I love, people should need to get party time. And
I have found a lot of peace here in lately in my life. I have.
Well, I think you're in a much better place. I think even over the last couple times I've interviewed you, you seem calmer than other times I've talked to you. I think that you are getting a little bit more peace as you get older. Do you agree?
I have a nice little family here that I live with, and they're very good to me, and it's good people. And when I come out of my bubble, when I inch out of my bubble in my room here, it's like, it's a good environment, and it's loving and stuff. And I just keep my world small, surrounded by only good people, and there's always bumps.
Sure.
There's always bumps and everything, what I mean? But it's so much different than the life I've lived all the way since I was a baby. I mean, it's been really, really dark and cold and lonely, and even around some of the closest people to me since I was small have been the ones that have done the biggest damage, and ones that you never would expect to do that to you. So you never see it coming, you know what I mean? And so, like I said, you keep it small, you take less chances with that stuff, but then again, you're more guarded, and you're not able to lower your shields and stuff like that as much and as well. And that, of course, that causes turbulence with what you're doing and who you're with around and stuff. Now, I mean, it's hard for people to, first of all, nobody, unless they have it, understands how bad anxiety can get. You never would understand, and it gets to sound like an excuse to people and this and that. But I mean, the other day, I literally blacked out. The anxiety got so high, and all the shaking and the eyes twitching, then they were like bulging out of my head, and then I just heard this, and just my laptop in my hands, smashed that. And I had an interview in 20 minutes, and I hadn't even showered or anything. And so luckily I got it together. And, but that's when I'm afraid to find out what comes after that. I mean, like if it escalates anymore, I don't want to find out. And so I'm just trying to zen out, get my fish,
That's good. Well, yeah, just take it one day at a time. I mean, you're doing great with the sobriety and all that stuff, and you're making great music, and I'm really happy for you. I like to end each episode with a charity. I think before you mentioned the Fallen Blue, are you still working with that one?
That was a failed attempt to capitalize on I figured, well, hey, the police are down right now. You know what I mean? Maybe they could use a friend. I can get in there and get some views through that and stuff. And it wasn't for the police; it was for the families of the surviving families of officers and firemen killed in the line of duty, which they're victims of stuff. And most of the police are decent people and stuff. But there are those pieces of shit out there, But it didn't occur to me that I was dividing my fans at that point because each were taking a stand on different things, and I don't take a political stand, and I just believe in right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? I see a lot wrong, and I don't have enough knowledge on a lot of things to really establish a point of view or pick a side, but I'm on the side of the people, and for all of us, that's the side I'm on. And I figure there's plenty of people out doing that. My job is to paint little rainbows in the sky for you to listen to, and the little colors and stuff, and stick to that. But there's some things like Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement and all that stuff. It's I've had a lot of similar issues like they have. So the more knowledge I get, the more but I'm never going to, mix politics in what I do. It's not my job, and you can influence people, you lose people. But one thing that I really want to bring awareness to, if I can, and see what I can do is mental and emotional disorders,
Okay.
That's a big one. It's a big one.
I will put something in the notes for that. People will have a few extra bucks after they buy your laminate. They can throw that towards mental health. That's great. I love that cause.
People just our country especially, we just don't give any focus or attention to that. You're curing this and we're curing that. We're kind of curing this, but with the anxiety and the mental disorders that I have, I'd almost rather have something else or lose a part of my body, before my faculties, you know what I mean? Because then you're done. Then you can't do anything. What good are your arms and legs and all your organs if you're just fucking, But I think mental health awareness is what will be. That's where my focus would be if I'm focusing on something of that nature. That and anti-bullying.
That's great. I will put that in the notes. Thank you so much for doing this, and I look forward to new music.
Thank you.
And hopefully
much.
a live show. Yeah, hopefully a live show too. I'll fly into Chicago or wherever you're doing it. I don't care.
Okay, either that or raise one up in your town, man.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
You book it, and it makes sense. I'll be there.
All right, sounds good, Donnie. Thanks so much.
Thanks for thinking of me, man. Have
All
a
right,
good day.
Bye-bye. Right. Donnie Vie, formerly singer of Enuff Z'Nuff, now solo artist, great solo artist, one of the best. I love the Beautiful Things album. It's one of the best albums that year, a couple of years ago. So make sure to get the laminate flash drive. It's got all the music and the video. It's a box set and lifetime backstage pass access. Very cool. Check out the Party Time music video and single. It's a great song. Very catchy. Good stuff. And make sure to follow Donnie on social media and subscribe to his YouTube channel so you can keep up to with what he's doing and new music he's releasing. And if you want to support my show, you can do the same for me. Follow me on social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And your likes, shares, and comments and all that good stuff, those can help me. You can help Donnie, and you can help us both out by sharing this episode. And all that stuff bumps up the posts so more people can see them and hear them and hear Donnie's music and all the great stuff that he's doing. So I really appreciate your support with all these great artists and my show. And so I hope you have a great rest of your day. And remember to shoot for the moon.